Hey everyone, Ian King here, editor at Smart Profits Daily, and today I'm going to talk about why Bitcoin is going to have a banner year in 2020. But before I get started, I want to ask you, if you haven't subscribed to our video, please click the subscribe button down there. And if you like this video, feel free to give us a like, or if you have any questions, you can always hit the comment button, comment on our video, and we'll be sure to get back to you. So let's talk about Bitcoin. You know, I was looking at a broad array of markets last week, and I was looking at 2019 performance, and stocks did great. Let's face it, the NASDAQ was up over 30%, the S&P was up 28%. I think bonds didn't do so well, but the one asset class, if we can call it an asset class yet, that beat everything was Bitcoin. It was up 87% in 2019. Who would have thought? Everyone seemed to have given up on Bitcoin in 2018. 2019 arrived and the market went up. It didn't go up all year. It actually peaked mid-year and then sold off for the second half of the year. But it still registered an 87% return in 2019. So in this video, I want to explain to you exactly what's been going on with the world's largest cryptocurrency and why this rally is likely to continue in 2020. But first, a little bit of background about Bitcoin. So if you think about why Bitcoin is a thing or why it was started, it was because a group of people, or maybe one person, Satoshi Nakamoto, created a decentralized version of money. The fears were, when Bitcoin was created back in 2009, that central banks were printing too much money. And that might still be the case today. Central banks continue to print money, and we have negative interest rates all over Europe. US interest rates are at 1.8% on the 10-year, and central banks keep adding liquidity to the system. So the worry was, you can't have a currency that has stable value because the central banks have these printing presses. They can just keep adding dollars or euros to the system. So it was time for an alternative version of currency, and that is how you got the decentralized cryptocurrency a la Bitcoin. Now, the way Bitcoin is set up is that there is a limited supply of Bitcoins in existence. There can only be 21 million of these Bitcoins mined. And so that gives it scarcity value because there's no one behind the scenes printing the press and adding more Bitcoins to the system. We know how many are in existence currently and how many will be in the future. And so how these Bitcoins are distributed is that you have a network of miners that secure all the transactions, and every 10 minutes, these miners basically have to solve a cryptographic puzzle, and the winner who solves the problem gets a reward, and it's called a block reward, and the reward is paid in Bitcoin. And the early blocks, when Bitcoin first launched back in 2010, the early blocks would pay 50 Bitcoin per 10 minutes, okay? So they wanted to get more currency into the system. So every 10 minutes, way back when, somebody earned 50 Bitcoin. And, you know, it was only worth about 6 cents back then, so it wasn't really worth holding on to, so people were spending lots of Bitcoin on transactions that they could online. But every 4 years, the amount of block rewards gets cut in half. Okay, so we started with 50. In 2012, it was cut to 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. And then in 2016, it was cut to 12 and a half. Now I'm gonna show you this chart right now. This just illustrates exactly when these, what they're called halving cycles, happened, and what happened to the price of Bitcoin after Bitcoin block rewards were cut in half. So what we're seeing now is that there's 12 and a half Bitcoins created every 10 minutes, but sometime in mid-2020, we're going to reach the final block that allows for 12 and a half Bitcoin reward. It's gonna get cut in half. So the reward is only gonna be 6 1/4 Bitcoin created every 10 minutes. And what we see with these halving cycles is that the market has accelerated and gone up significantly around these halving cycles. One of the reasons might be that you're just cutting the daily supply issuance. So if you think about gold, imagine if the 1,000 or so tons of gold that were mined in 1 year was cut in half. prices of gold would go up because there would be more supply and the same amount of demand. So we're going to see traders and crypto investors buy ahead of this halving cycle, and we have already started to see signs of it. The price of Bitcoin has jumped 20% already this year. Other crypto asset prices are up 30 and 50% in January alone. And I see this rally continuing. I think we're going to get back to 15,000 at some point mid-year based on the Bitcoin halving cycle. So if you're hearing things in the news about why Bitcoin is rallying, here's why. The halving cycle is happening in 2020. Ian King here for Smart Profits Daily. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.